Bunch of amateurs.
12:13 behind Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Bunch of amateurs.
So this was a couple weeks ago, but I haven't seen an official statement on it. A U.S. citizen who was residing in Ukraine has been arrested, and that he was a California-born man. He was in the past like a Business Insider contributor, and he had a YouTube channel. He was an outspoken critic of Zelensky's regime. The Ukrainian SBU released a press release saying he was arrested for justifying Putin's invasion. So ultimately, it added up to speech. And I spoke with Congressman Ted Lieu, Democrat, and he said he urges the State Department to engage its authorities to, work out some sort of negotiation to get him released. So, are you guys aware of this? How do we feel about our allies, detaining U.S. citizens for speech abroad?
I will say in general that we're aware of the report. We obviously support the exercise of freedom of speech anywhere in the world, and I'll leave it at that.
So you guys aren't working to get him released?
Bunch of amateurs. Bunch of amateurs. You're all the same to me. Yeah.
Just last month, Zelensky threw a man called Gonzallo Lira into prison indefinitely for the crime of daring to write about the Ukrainian government in unflattering ways. Now, what's interesting, what separates this from other such cases, is that Lira is an American citizen. So Joe Biden, who is quite a bit of SWAT, as they say in Ukraine, could have freed Gonzallo Lira within hours.
Yeah.
Leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
But he didn't. He didn't want to. He didn't say a word about it. He remains in prison today.
I've never met Gonzallo Lira, except online, and I consider him a brave, whistleblowing journalist. I have profound disagreements with many of his takes on many other things, but as Anthony Blinken once said, journalism is not a crime.
Yeah.
Although, of course, we know that Blinken and others were speaking with the forked tongue, because if they really meant it, they'd be making the earth shake to secure the release of their own citizen journalist, Gonzallo Lira, an American citizen who's probably the best known Chilean in the world. And since the day and hour that they filmed themselves kidnapping this American citizen from his home in Kharkov, we have heard nothing, neither from the American embassy, whose citizen he is, or from the Chilean embassy, whose ethnicity, of course, he has, nor from any journalist in the West who are forever talking about journalists in jail in China or Russia, prisoners of conscience and so on. What about Gonzallo Lira? Where is Gonzallo Lira? Produce Gonzallo Lira. You murderers. If you have killed that brave man, you will never be forgiven. And people will pursue the killer to the ends of the earth and to the end of time. God save the life of Gonzallo Lira. Blinken, Biden, save the life of your own citizen, for God's sake.
So back in May, I asked you about Gonzallo Lira. He was a U.S. citizen arrested in Ukraine for posting dissident content online. And you told me the State Department was aware of his arrest in May. And we learned last night through a series of tweets by him that he had been tortured in the Ukrainian prison, and he was now on a motorcycle with a broken rib trying to flee to the Hungarian border. And so I'm wondering, if this is true, given the State Department knew of his arrest and his detention, how has this been allowed to occur? We have a U.S. citizen being detained and perhaps tortured in the prison of one of our strongest allies.
Well, you lost me with the perhaps and the if this is true. I think I'd want to verify those reports before I comment. Alex, go ahead.
Is the State Department investigating?
I just want to verify anything before I comment. Go ahead, Alex.
Amateurs, you're all the same to me.
AI is kind of a fancy thing. First of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence. But ultimately what it is it's about machine learning.
Amateurs,
And so the machine is taught.
bunch of amateurs.
And part of the issue here is what information is going into the machine.
You're all the same to me.
That will then determine, and we can predict then, if we think about what information is going in, what then will be produced in terms of decisions and opinions that may be made through that process.
We're going to help. We have plans to build a railroad from the Pacific all the way across the Indian Ocean.
Amateurs,
We have plans to build in Angola one of the largest solar plants in the world. I can go on, but I'm not. I'm going off script and I'm going to get in trouble.
bunch of amateurs. Amateurs, you're all the same to me. Yeah, bunch of amateurs. You're all the same to me. Nowadays you got more rappers. Bunch of amateurs. Nowadays you got more rappers. Bunch of amateurs. You're all the same to me. Yeah. Yeah. Bunch of amateurs. You're all the same to me. Nowadays you got more rappers. Bunch of amateurs. Nowadays you got more rappers. Bunch of amateurs. You're all the same to me. Yeah.
God save the Queen, man.
Yeah.